Hello everybody and welcome back to I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. After all that talking and then more talking, we are finally back to do some more talking. And we're gonna start with Vertumnalia, but we've got other stuff to do and even more people to talk to. So let's get started on that. Whoop! You can't find Deese outside the walls, even though the duty roster has working on the expedition vehicles today. After asking around, one of his crewmates points you to where she'd seen him disappear into the forest just 10 minutes ago. You thank her and set off into the wilderness. You've picked up a few things about tracking after hanging out with Deese for so long, so you follow his trail into the nearby mushwood forest until you hear him, speaking calm and slow. Shh, it's going to be okay. Just let me help you. You follow his voice to find him kneeling on the ground next to a wounded Hopeye. The scent of blood and animal fear colors the air. Deese's knife glints as he pulls it from its sheath. Don't worry, he says to the creature. I've got you. It won't hurt anymore. Real soon. A branch snaps under your foot and Deese's head jerks up. His eyes go wide, but he doesn't greet you. Instead, he gestures for you to get a closer look at the Hopeye. Its single leg is mangled beyond recognition from a hunter's snap trap, and it's bleeding heavily. It can only stare up at Deese, defeat in its 4 eyes. It struggles once more, then goes still from exertion, wheezing miserably. They tell everyone they're humane traps, Deese mutters. But humans lie, don't they? They lie all the time. The hunters won't be back to check the traps until tomorrow, Deese continues, looking down at the Hopeye with a grim expression. I have to put it out of its misery. I'll do it. Deese hands you the knife and moves aside. You kneel and take the small, terrified creatures in your arms. With one clean cut, you slice through its neck. It tenses, twitching in fear reflex, and goes limp. You hand the knife back to Deese. Deese is quiet at your side for a long time, breathing evenly through his nose and out through his mouth, like he's meditating. It's better to die off quickly than suffer in a trap. But there shouldn't have been a trap in the first place, he says eventually. He clicks his tongue against his teeth. It's pointless. It was going to die eventually, but not here. It's not natural. It's not the death that bothers me. It's our vanity. Humans are so afraid of extinction that they'll kill indiscriminately to avoid it. Deese takes a cloth out and wipes the Hopeye's blood off his blade, his movements slow and reverent. I used to let it control me too. I thought dying meant that living was pointless, he continues. But now I know the truth. Life is short and brutal and hard. It's up to us to fill it with as many experiences as we can. Are we going to spend our lives cooped up in the colony, subjugating nature because it strikes fear into our animal brains? He smiles faintly. Or are we going to get out of there and live the only life we've ever been given? He looks down at the corpse of the Hopeye and lays his hand gently against his head. We're all going to end up like this, in the end. There's no use denying it, and letting the fear of it control our actions. I agree completely. You're probably the only one here who does, Deese replies. That's why we get along, I guess. Deese lifts the Hopeye's body into his arms and rises to his feet. The smell of death will attract animals right into other traps, he says. I'm not taking it back to the colony to be stuffed into a recycler. We have to take it into the woods and give it back to nature. You and Deese walk further into the forest in respectful silence. Deese is cradling the dead Hopeye against his chest. Eventually, he tells you to wait nearby while he finds tracks of a predator and lays it down, an offering the forest accepts without acknowledgement. He returns to you, blood-stained and solemn. It's done, he says. You begin the walk back to the colony, though it's clear Deese is taking his time. After a few minutes of walking, he turns to you and grabs your arm, forcing you to stop and look at him. Yabby, he says, his eyes burning. Promise you won't let me end up like that Hopeye. At your questioning look, he squeezes your arm to the point that it almost hurts. If I'm trapped here, just let me go, okay? I promise. Deese breathes out a sigh of relief. Thank you, Yabby. He stares at you for a few unnerving seconds, perfectly still, before jerking into motion and fishing out a pendant necklace from his clothes. He unclasps it from his neck and holds it out to you. Here, he says. You should have this. I want you to have this. You turn and let him put it around your neck. The pendant is large, but surprisingly light. You recognize that it's a fragment of a unisaur horn, its pearlescent color shimmering in the light. Are you flirting with me? Dee's hands pause on your neck. Maybe, he breathes, so quiet you almost didn't hear. Is that okay? His voice is shaking. Is he scared? I feel the same way. You do? Dee says. You're not just saying that because you feel sorry for me, right? You turn around and shake your head. You waited a long time for Deese to be ready, and he finally came to you on his own. A a bird that you had to let go to be free. Dees regards you with a serious expression. You're the only person in this colony that I've ever really cared about, he says. I don't know why you bothered trying to be my friend when I was trying to push everyone away. His eyes drop to your mouth and linger there. I care for you so much, Yabby, he says softly. It almost scares me sometimes. I've never felt like this before about anything. He cups your face and bends to kiss you, achingly sweet and slow. You can't imagine what I'd do to keep you safe. He steps away and looks down at the ground, suddenly evasive. Listen, I don't know how much longer I have left here, he says softly. I just want you to know that I want to spend the time I do have with you. Aww, we're dating! We have dating! And now, let's get out of here. I was just thinking the same thing, Dees says, giving you one of his rare smiles. You head out to the gates. You and Dees check your gear and set off on a deep wilderness hike, Dees in the lead. After a few hours, he's led you both on a grueling switchback up the side of the cliff, and you pull yourself over the ledge. You curse his name. Dees, who is somehow still standing as hale and hearty as ever, just laughs. Come on, he says, and you groan. Just a little farther. The view is worth it. You stagger to your feet and loop your arms around him, letting him support you as you take in the view, which is, as promised, awesome. In the sense that it fills you with genuine awe. A nearby waterfall begins its descent down the steep cliff, pooling at the bottom in an azure lake that glimmers in the second sunrise. From here, the colony is an insignificant smudge of dirt on top of the horizon. Dees takes a deep breath and releases it. I wish more people could see the colony like this, he says, holding you close. I think they'd finally realize how small and powerless we are compared to this planet. It is an awe-inspiring view, isn't it? Alright, who else we gotta talk to? Rex! Rex beams when he sees you walking towards him. Yabby, he calls. Just the person I wanted to see. You duck under the shade of an overhanging bit of construction. I wanted to talk to you about something, Rex starts without preamble. I wanted to talk about us. Nothing to talk about. We're just friends. Sorry, Rex. I'm setting you up with Nomi. Rex tilts his head and looks at you quizzically. Are you sure? 'Cause I swear I thought... Nah, must have been imagining it. He shrugs and laughs a little at himself. I just like everyone, you know? Sometimes I guess I just see things that aren't there. If you want to be just friends, I'm totally cool with that. Rex slings a friendly arm around your shoulder. I'm glad we talked about this, he says. There's nothing better than a kid and their dog, right? You have to agree. It's awkward to tell someone you don't like them that way, but you feel good about this one. And Rex seems as genuinely happy as ever. It's good to have a friend like Rex. Heck yeah, Rex is best friend forever. I give you stick. I don't have stick. Shit. I give you hug instead. Whoa! More people! It's a beautiful day, and you spot Tammy outside the lounge enjoying the sun. Her father Tonin is there as well, with a supportive hand on her shoulder. She waves excitedly as you approach. Yabby, guess what? Dr. Instance approved me for artificial insemination. I can have a baby. You knew that Tammy wanted to be a parent, but so soon? She's only a year older than you are. Seeing her sitting there, kicking her bare feet in the grass, you can't believe how young she looks, and how very happy, just beaming from ear to ear. Wanting to be a mother, Tammy smiles at her dad. It's one thing. It's maybe the only thing I've ever been really sure of. The funny thing is, Tammy muses, I know I should feel scared, but I don't. I know I've been scared my whole life, she laughs quietly to herself. But when I think about being a mother, I only feel calm, like I can be brave. I can do anything, as long as it's for my baby. Tammy's father gives her shoulder a squeeze, and she leans against him. Even when I was younger and I took care of children in the old creche, if they cried or were scared, that was the only time I wasn't afraid. She shakes her head. Isn't that funny? You're stronger than you think. Maybe. Is this what it feels like to have a purpose? Tammy wonders. You already have one. It's being an amazing person all the time, the heart of the colony. Whoa! Ting is working late in the lab this evening as usual. What's unusual, though, is the smile that brightens her face when she looks up from her microscope and sees you. Yabby, oh, I'm glad you're here. No, actually, why don't you come over here and see for yourself? You take a look through her microscope. Look at the shape of the spores, Tang says. I've only seen this once before, when we were studying the shimmer fungus, but this fungus isn't any of the ones we identified as capable of spreading shimmer. She pushes you aside and looks through the microscope again, then makes more notes on her HoloLens. Just when I think we've got an understanding of something. Yabby, this could change everything. If more species are capable of spreading the spores, then the shimmer response is more widespread than we previously thought, probably even a planet-wide phenomenon. Tang looks positively energized. Because it's a new species, I get to submit a suggestion for its name. What do you think? Should I name it after you? I'd be honored. Tang smiles and inputs your name into her hollow eye. With a slight gesture of her hand, Tang's hollow eye turns off. She sighs and then rubs her thumb and index finger over her eyes. It's even later than usual for me, isn't it? Time to pack up and get going before the sanitation team arrives in the morning. She yawns and then blinks rapidly and surprised. It seems that even I'm tired. You help her pack up her workstation, then she turns off the lights with one last fond look at her laboratory. You and Tang take the long way through the colony, walking in companionable silence towards the general direction of the living quarters. You've come to enjoy these walks with Tang, moving like twin spirits through a sleeping world. Tang stops you before you head into the living quarters. Actually, let's not go straight back, she says. I want to stay out a little while longer. You and Tang climb up onto the walls, where the wind coming from the forest is stronger, and keep walking. The wilderness is dark and impenetrable past the defensive perimeter. Tang keeps you on the outside edge, subconsciously, or possibly consciously, putting you between her and it. I hate thinking about what's out there, she says quietly. Predators, dangers, diseases, all the monsters that have terrified humanity since the dawn of time, and they're right outside these walls. For as long as we can keep them out. She links her fingers behind her back as she walks. All the same, I think I've finally come to appreciate it for what it is. Opportunity. How many scientists have truly been afforded this freedom of discovery, a seemingly limitless buffet of knowledge? Tang looks towards the wilderness and smiles, wistfully. Vertumna is full of dangers, yes, but I find myself also feeling a curious sense of wonder. Awe, perhaps. You walk a little farther before Tang, seemingly in the middle of deep thought, stops and turns to you. She winces, then bites her lip. No, I don't mean happy, precisely. Happiness is irrelevant to a survival situation. What I mean is, do you imagine a future here? One that you would have chosen for yourself, should you have been given an option? Are you fulfilled? I am. Oh, Tang replies, looking away. I envy your clarity of vision. Honestly, Tang continues, I despise the physical realities of living here. The smell, the cramped quarters, the constant threat of attack, of disease, everyone's meaningless interpersonal squabbles, amplified by proximity and stress. I can feel them weighing me down. She laughs humorously. But we don't have a choice, do we? Therefore, the only rational decision is to make the best of what we have. To accept otherwise is to accept misery and death. That's the tangent you know so well. You trust her to stay logical and focused no matter what chaos tomorrow may bring. You walk until the chill of the night settles into your skin, then descend from the walls and walk back to the living quarters. Tang hesitates at the threshold. Anyone else might not have noticed, but you know Tang. Probably better than anyone in the colony does, even her own brother. What's wrong? Oh, nothing, Tang says with a hollow laugh. Just thinking, which is nothing new. She looks at you with a faint smile. You, probably more than anyone else in the colony, knows what it feels like to conceal your true feelings under a serene facade. I mean no offense, but we're alike in that way. I can't help but feel unsettled by everything we have yet to face. Tang laughs. Unsettled is an imprecise word. Do you want a hug? Tang's awkward silence conveys that she has to consider this deeply. Yes, she says finally. I do, actually. You enfold Tang in a gentle hug. After a few seconds of stunned inaction, Tang wraps her arms limply around you as well. You spread your hands wide and hold her more tightly, trying to manifest the right kind of comforting energy to resonate through Tang's shields. Either you manage or she simply relents, but Tang rests her head on top of yours and sighs. This is where I talk about how physical touch encourages the production of oxytocin, she murmurs, which is a bonding hormone that imparts feelings of calm and security. You can feel her smile against your hair. I know you know that, though, so I'll simply say that this is nice. Thank you. Tang straightens her coat. I am aware that I am not the easiest person to befriend, she admits. Among my many admirable qualities, I am often cold, brusque, and tactless. I owe you my thanks for taking the time to see through that. I don't know why you would have bothered, but I'm grateful. She looks towards the living quarters, as if steeling herself. You don't have to be alone tonight. Oh, an interesting proposition, Tang replies. What precisely do you mean? We could keep each other company. Tang scrutinizes your face for any hint of an ulterior motive. Convinced you have none, her shoulders drop. I would like that. Thank you, she says, defeated. You retire back to Tang's quarters. A largely sterile sleeping room with a few human touches, save for a few neglected plants and a ratty blanket that you recognize as the kind Chief Steward Anne used to knit by hand for every kid. There's a physical photo of Tang and Instance posed awkwardly together, as if they'd been working on something and told to take a break and smile for the camera. You keep Tang quiet company for a few hours, trading bits of conversation until the first sun starts to rise. You look over and see that Tang's eyes have closed, and her face has finally gone slack in much-needed sleep. You pull the blanket over her and close your eyes as well, to catch a few hours before you're both expected back at work. Aw. It's nice to know that we can spend time with her and help her, even if we're not in a romance with her. 'Cause I never bothered to before, which I feel kind of bad about, but now we can. And she's our friend, and everyone's our friend. We're taking care of everybody. Alright, I'm gonna go out and see if Sim wants to talk. And if he doesn't, then I might go back, and then go back into the, swamps to raise our friendship with Vase. I mean, they're all around the same area, so... Oh, Tangent, it's 100, Deece is at 100, so... Oh, we're so close. Can we do it? Can we do it? I really want to do it. Alright, we got a little bit more. Now it's time for Vertumnalia. This year's Vertumnalia is ushered in with a big military band. Horns and drums supplemented by recordings of parade music from Earth. Governor Lum strides out of command on a grand red carpet and ascends the stage to raucous applause. Thank you, everyone, he calls out over the din. Look at you. Look at this colony. Finally, truly united. All it took was a common enemy, he declares. I look at you, you beautiful people, you strong people, you good human people, and I see a fire in your eyes. I see courage in your hearts. I see a colony that's ready to win. I see a colony that's here to stay. Vertumna, do you hear me? He raises his arms and roars. Do you hear me, Vertumna? We humans aren't going to hide anymore. Lum gestures Security Chief Rhett to join him on the stage, then continues. The original fugitive colonists got it wrong. Vertumnus was the god of civil cultivation, not of rampant chaotic growth. He clenches his hands into a fist. We need to clear the field before we can plow it. Vertumna won't be safe for human life until the aliens are eradicated. Rhett crosses his arms and nods his agreement. Maybe there's more to this plan than Lum is letting on. Lum descends from the stage and does a receiving line of handshakes and fist bumps, and the vacuum left by his present Chief Administrator Seek takes the podium and clears their throat. Ahem. I want to announce that this will be the last year that festival contests will be held. What? A sound of protest rises from the crowd, and near the front, Lum just shrugs theatrically and mouths, not my fault. Seek looks down at him pointedly, then continues. This war will use our colony resources at a tremendous rate, including the most valuable time. Hey, I've got some good news, Lum adds, jumping back up on stage. This one's gonna knock your socks off. The colony has its first pregnancy. The crowd murmurs in excitement, and Lum beckons Tammy to join him. Everyone give a round of applause to Aspartame here, Vertumna's first mother. Tammy is beet red all the way to the tips of her ears. She dutifully does a little twirl, so Lum can show her off. Look at her, he exclaims. So vibrant, so healthy, just like our young colony. We're proud of you, Tammy. Your child is going to join the ranks of the greatest species the universe has ever seen. Lum pumps his fist in the air. Humans, humans, humans. Let me hear you, Vertumna. Wait, Tammy's pregnant? Tammy descends from the stage into a gaggle of surprised and excited friends. OMG, is it really true? Mars asks immediately, taking Tammy by the hands. Yes, Tammy exclaims, like the secret is bursting out of her. I'm finally going to be a mommy, just like Aunt Anne. You take a good look at Tammy. You haven't seen a pregnant person in years, not since you landed at least. Aren't they supposed to glow? Tammy looks radiant with pride and excitement. Looking more closely, you realize that her dress is starting to curve around the belly. Every baby born to the colony, even you and your friends, is a complex arrangement of inherited, donated, and altered genes, and sometimes not even related to their parents. If the council let Tammy have a baby, does that mean there will be more soon? Cal runs over to where he was standing with his family and sweeps Tammy up in a big hug, twirling her around. I'm so proud of you, he exclaims, then rests his hand gently on her belly. Sorry, too much spin. You okay, little hot eye? They look at each other adoringly. As you stand around and marvel at Tammy's news, the adults all start putting away the chairs and setting up the games and contests. Mars puts her hands on her hips. So, she starts, what does everyone think about this war on nature? I think it's stupid, Cal says immediately. I know survival is important, but we don't have to kill things just to survive here. Mars rolls her eyes. Duh, of course you'd think that, she mutters. Personally, I think Lum is a total nullhead. He's not that much older than me. What, is he like 24? And everyone listens to him? She flips her hair over her shoulder. They should listen to me instead. Finally, you're all called to participate in the games. The last ones. Maybe forever. If this war on nature ever ends, you'll probably be an adult. As your friends all separate into their usual games, you realize that this may be the last time that you just get to be kids. What do you choose? Oh, dang it, I can't do the talent show? Wait a minute. Maybe I could. Shit! I'll be right back. I want to do the talent show. Or wait, who would the bake-off get me? Oh, I don't know. I don't want to do Xeno wrangling. Talent show would get me Rex. Trivia would get me Nomi. Trivia. Tangent is out for blood this year. She snaps at anyone who tries to talk to her before the trivia begins and complains that she's been cramming so hard on pop culture that she feels like her brain is about to explode. Meanwhile, Nomi just bobs along to the music in their hear speed as they wait, totally unbothered. Trivia time! Let's see. 95? Good enough. There we go. Tang's cramming clearly paid off for her. She's strong competition until the category about old earth slang, where you clearly pull ahead. You snatch victory from her clutches, and she grudgingly accepts your superiority in all things trivia. After the festivities, everyone is supposed to take a few days vacation. You and your friends relax, but the adults move around the colony like ants in a hive, fortifying the walls and preparing for the human offensive against the planet. Oh, new perk. Extra gear slot. Nice. What can I add? I'll add my medallion for now. But if we need to switch things around, then we will. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh no. There's more people to talk to. Alright, I am so sorry I have to keep doing this. It feels like every time we make some progress, we run into another cluster of conversation, and there's still more conversation to do. So we're gonna save that for next time. These final years look like they might be stretched out a little bit more, although this may stop next year, depending, because once we hit Vertumnalia next year, we have to go ahead and do the running for governor, so that's gonna take up a lot of our time, until year 19. But we'll have to worry about all that next time, so until then, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. Remember to take care of yourselves, play the games one last time, and have a good day.